there's not there aren't many excuses to not do what you want. And I tell you this because I've had a lot of ideas. The thing is, with social media, there are so many opportunities to make money. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us have a lot of hobbies that we would like. I have come up with three different things that I would probably actually love doing, and I can turn into a vlog, and I can make a lot of money. And by next year, obviously, I'm going to film myself on camera. This page, it's been more of me just talking about, day-to-day stuff, and not even day-to-day stuff, just things that's on my mind. It's not even about day-to-day stuff. It's just things that's on my mind, stuff that might have been like revelations that I've had. I share that on here. So, I don't really, I just really just have a black screen. But next year, I don't know around what time of the year, it's going to be more of me getting into vlogs and doing things, and it's going to be different channels. And I might have do vlogs on this video too, but it's actually, I would have to I don't know if I have to change up the content. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to monetize this channel because of the things I talk about. See, so, but, and if I do monetize it, it's going to get demonetized. And so I have to be careful with this channel. I kind of say whatever I want to say. But I want to talk about that topic. There's no excuse there's not too many excuses not to do what you want, right? I'm not going to say there's no excuse. I'm going to say there aren't too many excuses not to do what you want to do, because it could be reasons why people don't do what they want. They could be incapacitated. If they're incapacitated, then they can't really do what they want because they're not in a place mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally where they can get up and do anything, right? That could be a good excuse not to do anything. Sometimes you're in a lot of spiritual warfare. Sometimes you have a lot of blocks that's blocking you from doing it, and you got to move the blocks out the way. And so, but a lot of people have blocks though. A lot of people have blocks, and a lot of those blocks come from, I'm just going to say, from a lot of my experience and a lot of people's experiences. Sometimes we grow up in a household where people don't want to see us thrive and people don't want to see us happy. And so when you grow up in that kind of household, that kind of creates your foundation. Okay, that's your foundation. That's your root. That's your, what you call it, belief system. Not that you personally believe it, but that was a projection on you from family, and you being a child growing up and not being able to process what was happening. You were like a sponge that took it all in, and so it actually became your belief system without you actually consciously believing it. If you know what I mean, like subconscious beliefs. Okay, it became trees in your life, a belief system. Okay. And so with that being said, then there's a lot of excuses why, even though you're mentally okay, you could be intellectual and you're physically able. And if you got all that going on and spiritual, if you got all that going on, you're equipped to move forward. Let me just say that you're equipped. But the problem is you might have blocks in your life because of those trees that's rooted from when you were a child. And those trees need to be uprooted. Okay, and then you can move on and flourish. And let me say this. Sometimes it's better to see a psychologist because a lot of us try to figure it out. We know we need to do stuff. Sometimes it's best it's a reason why they have degrees. It's a reason why they go through schooling and they have to go get their PhD before they get to practice. It's a reason why people go to medical school and then they have to do their residency in whatever specialty they decide to practice, right? Whatever specialty they want to be in, they have to do a residency. So like, doctors have to go to school for like 12, they're like 11 years to 12 years that they're in school. But the residency, they actually get paid though, but not as much as like when you're a regular doctor out of school though. But I say that to say it's a reason why psychologists go to school. It's deeper. It's really deeper than you just not having that type of education and just trying to talk to yourself and tell yourself, oh, does such and such and such. It's a lot deeper. And so I'm spiritual too. I get that I meditate on the word, and you know what I said in my last video about who the Antichrist is. So I'm not that type of third dimensional type of Christian. I'm not a Christian like that. Like they practice in the church and in the third dimension, because I told you about that entity that image that they gave us, that Caucasian Jesus they gave us. I told you that was an actual entity, and I saw something during the meditation. I saw that was a soul harvester. That's an actual entity. That's a soul harvester. Okay, I don't want to get too far off track into that, but you can look into my video. I'm gonna make another video about what I saw and during a meditation about that entity. It traps your soul. But the thing is, all these other spiritual practices might trap people's souls too. I like that character Jesus better than I like all these other stuff that people are dealing with. you know. But yeah, that image, that's the Antichrist. Because why are they giving you an image of a person? And then when people say they had a dream about Jesus, and then they dream that exact image that they're given to in the media. That's what they dream about in the dream, that exact image that they're being fed. And then they say they saw Jesus. You didn't see Jesus. You saw an image of what was fed to you. You didn't see Jesus. Because if you would have really saw Jesus, you would have saw yourself. And I'm not talking about the person that's in the mirror. I'm talking about the real you that's lying dormant, while the false you is going around in the world. The real you is dormant. When you see the real you that's lying dormant, that's the Jesus. So if you say you saw Jesus because you saw some man that looked like something that's depicted in media, that's not Jesus. But I'm sorry, let me get off of that, because that was on the last video called Who is the Antichrist? But no, besides, other than just moving on the blocks, and sometimes it can take a year and sometimes it can take 2 years, because sometimes those blocks are so deeply rooted. And actually the spiritual warfare comes from those trees. And during this time right here, it's like your shadow is fighting you. Your shadow is trying to attack you, because your shadow sees you as different from you, even though it looks just like you. It sees itself as a different person. It's trying to unalive you. And so the spiritual warfare comes with dealing with that shadow. But other than that, I don't want to make that a reason not to flourish, because you're just going to end up staying in hell. I mean, if you let it win, you're just going to stay in hell. And what hell I'm talking about is a certain dimension of the mind. It will look like a physical place, but it all has to do with the mind. It's a dimension in the mind. Okay. And so, no, it's just too much going on with the ideas that I just came up with 3 ideas today, just thinking to myself. And you know what? If I can think about it, it's something that can actually happen. It's people who have stayed in a van and lived in van life, and they do cooking stuff on a little griddle or whatever, those little hot plates, and they do cooking and they do camping, and they get hundreds of thousands of views. And it's like, I've had so many ideas that I can do, even if I decide to pick up like 3 or 4 hobbies, just so I can do vlogs and hobbies that I would love, just so I can vlog and make a lot of money off of vlogs. It's no reason. I got to get out that shell, that introverted shell. What is an introvert? Introvert means you don't really like being around a lot of people. I don't want to be around a lot of people still, but it's not because I don't like people. It's because the energy that's on people. I don't need that. I don't want to be around that, because I'm going to have to cleanse, like heavily cleanse. I mean, when I used to work in a facility, 5 days a week, it was almost like I had to work extra hard to remove negative energy, to cleanse my energy, because you're around people who are very negative. And so that's why I don't like working in facilities. But maybe you can make your aura, so you can do a way to make your aura so strong that stuff don't penetrate. I don't know. Okay. But some people who are, what you call those? When they easily absorb energy. What is it called? Come on now. Come on. I used to know. I hate it when I know these words, and then when I want to say it, I forget it. But a lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, you easily absorb different types of energy, and so it's hard for you to be around a lot of people like that and for too long. You know, it gets exhausting. Some of you guys know what I mean. I know the word too, but sometimes when I'm trying to say it, it don't come up. So anyway, yeah, there's not too many excuses not to do what you want. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, it's a lot. You have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have what else? What else do you have? It's some other streaming platforms that you can have. And because the reason why I say those might be something that's good to get into right away if you want to make money so you can create freedom for yourself and stay home, because other stuff that you might want to get into, it might require a skill. It might require you to learn a skill and perfect it before you can really make money in it. Okay. And so sometimes that take time, like what I really want to get into, my vocation. And your vocation is what you put on this world for, your soul's purpose. That's your vocation. And sometimes if you're not really skilled in that vocation yet, it's hard to make money in it because you have to work yourself up in that vocation to get to a point where people want to pay, where you're going to make money. But it's a way to create freedom for yourself so you can stay at home instead of going inside of a job every day. Now, trust me, I've gone inside jobs. I've worked. Like I worked in all different kinds of jobs. Trust me, I'm no stranger to work. But see, I don't want to. I don't want to. It's too much available to spend your time doing what you don't want to do, especially if you're able to put yourself in a position where you can work, you can work and save up your money, then you can rest and spend time on creating some kind of freedoms, more time for yourself. Sometimes when people are involved in YouTube, it helps them to create more time because they have more financial freedom and they're able to create time. They create more time for themselves because of financially it's lucrative on YouTube and other streaming platforms or other platforms that you can create the time that you need to get into what you like. But anyway, what else was I going to say? This is a time where, for me and for some people, to do what is, I'm not going to do anything that it makes other people happy if it's not really doing anything for me. It could be like, and for me, it has a lot to do with work because it's nothing else. I'm not involved with people like that, right? I don't hang out with a bunch of friends. I'm not dating. So for me, it has to do with, working. That's all. That's for me. But for other people, it could be family or stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not interested in doing stuff that is no longer benefiting me, but just doing it because it makes somebody else comfortable. And I'm going to tell you why for my case when it comes to working with other people, because I'm contracted, right? So I'm not an employee with them, but I'm contracted. I'm not getting additional money for the extra stuff that I have to do. Okay, for the extra stuff that I have to do, I'm not getting paid more, and I'm getting paid less than actually what I asked for. I'm getting a few dollars less than what I asked for. And it came to my realization like maybe a month ago, less than a month ago, it came to my realization that they could have given me exactly what I asked for and they would have been comfortable, but they didn't want to do that. And for that reason, I'm not willing to help them be comfortable. They gave me a few dollars less than what I asked for. Okay, I'm not going to say exactly what I asked for because you never know who listens. You just never know who listens. And so I don't want to give too many specifics, and then you never know who might come across your video somewhere in the future and they're like, hey, I heard your video. So, I'm not going to get specifics. But they gave me a few dollars less than what I asked for. And the reason why I took it during that time, because I believe what they said, right? I believe what they told me at that time. And I was like, well, they need to make a little profit too. If they paying me every single dime of what they get, they're not going to make a profit in their company. So they got to get something, right? But then it came to me about maybe a month ago, almost a month ago, it came to my mind that they actually could have given you what you asked for. They didn't want to. And for that reason, why? Because I'm pretty sure they have other people that are getting more than me. But to be quite honest with you, I'm doing more than them. And so I'm not interested in making anybody else feel comfortable. Not when you can't give me what I asked for, not when you can't give me what I wanted. I'm not going to make you feel comfortable. And as a matter of fact, once I get where I want to be, I'm going to quit completely. Now, even though I'm not satisfied with what's going on, I'm not going to be so quick to jump the gun and just leave them alone and quit. Because even though I'm disappointed with some things, I'm not going to completely cut off my stream of income until I'm in a place where I can afford to do it. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, there are some. I'm going to have to draw a line with certain things because I am contracted. I'm not an employee. I don't work for them. I'm contracted, right? And with that being said, I can say no to a lot of things because I'm a contractor. You know, and you know. That's just that. And that's just my little story because I'm not dealing with people like that. So I don't have a friend story or a parent or a sibling or children. I don't have those kind of stories, but because I'm not dealing with people like that. But yeah, but for some people it needs to be like family. Sometimes folks need to cut off their family. I made a video the other day. And I'm going to tell you this. I was talking about the cost of making somebody else the center of your world besides the Most High. I said the Most High is the only one that needs to be the center of your world and nobody else. And not even you, because you are not perfected. So then you don't even make yourself right now, unless you make the real you, the inner you, the center of your world, yeah, but not the you that you think you are, because that's an ego. That person not even real. You're making a false person the center of your world. You don't want that. So don't even make yourself the center of your world, okay? Because that person is not is imperfect. But I was talking about people who a marriage and how when you're dealing with a deep hurt that comes from a marriage, a heartbreak, a deep heartbreak when you're married to somebody that you absolutely love to the point where they become the center of your world. And this is something a lot of women do. Now, a lot of men might do this too, but this is something that a lot of women do, that they love their husband so deeply or their boyfriend so deeply that they make that person the center of their world. And when that person let them down, they cheat, just leave them for somebody else all of a sudden, or just leave them, the heartbreak is so deep that it literally drags them to a lower dimension. And so when they pass away, they are going to go down into lower dimensions because of that heavy weight that comes from that heartbreak. And to say the reason why I know that is because I'm in the afterlife right now. This is my afterlife, okay? That's the reason why I can say that, because I'm already experiencing it in the afterlife. Now, some people might think they're not in the afterlife, and the reason why they don't think that is because actually you're in somebody else's subconscious mind. It's not your afterlife. You're in somebody else's subconscious mind. So everybody's experience is not the same. So people want to disagree with, no, I disagree with, no, you can't disagree with me because you're not me. Like you're not me. You can't disagree with me because you're not me. The reason why you don't think it's afterlife is because it's not your afterlife. It's my afterlife, and you are a part of my afterlife. Okay. Just like the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy was unconscious and she was dreaming about Oz and had all this dream about the Yellow Brick Road and all this stuff, and then when she woke up, it turns out that she was knocked unconscious. Okay, and it was all a dream. This is what this is right now for me. This whole life, it's all a dream, and other people are a part of my dream. But anyway, so I say that to say that's why I can say nobody else. I don't care if it's your child needs to or whatever needs to be the center of your world, because they can cut you so deep to the point where if you mess around and transition with the damage that person that you made the center of your life, if that energy imprint is still there, once you transition, it's going to be so dense. That's where your dimension you're going to be headed into, and it might be pretty low. Okay. I'm going to say this. For some reason, and this happened yesterday, even though I made that video a few days ago, yesterday I kept thinking about something kept telling me to stay stuck on the children, like stay stuck on children, to keep, don't stay off the subject of children, because there are people who are making their children the center of their world, and they thinking they're doing the right thing. Okay, they think they're doing the right thing. See, they know, so people know it's wrong to make your husband or your wife or your man the center of your world, because people always want to critique that, right? But what about making your child, even if they're grown, even if they're little, what about making them the center of your world? Because nobody ever critiques that, because you think you're doing the right thing. Oh, I'll do anything for my son, or I'll do anything for my daughter. And that seems to be the correct thing to do, right? Now, if you say, I'll do anything for my man, people are like, oh, you're so desperate. But you say, I'll do anything for my child, I'll die for my child. It's not wrong with that, right? Because it seems like that's what you're supposed to do. Wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that you should protect them, but to make them the center of your world is a mistake. It's a mistake. And for some reason, something kept making me stay stuck on that. And I didn't know why. I didn't know who needed to hear that. But the fact that I was supposed to stay stuck on the children, somebody that might listen to this channel might need to hear that part. Okay. But anyway, I just feel like talking about that little tidbit really quickly, and I will talk later. All right.